part of running for the executive council also means that you have to talk to people about what the executive council actually is, because it is not very well known. It is very important, but very obscure. So it's unique to New Hampshire. It's an additional check and balance that we have on the governor within the executive branch. I think of it like a big city council for the whole state of New Hampshire. The state's divided into 5 executive council districts. We each represent about 265,000 people. And when I talk about the executive council, I use the word C.A.R.S. It stands for contracts, appointments, roads, and services. So contracts, all state spending over $10,000 goes through the executive council. A is for appointments. All appointments to state boards and committees, the commissioners of state agencies, like Frank Edelblut, the Commissioner of Education, whose mission is to destroy public education in New Hampshire. Replacing him is something that the next executive council will have the opportunity to do, hopefully when a new Democratic governor is elected and nominates someone to replace Frank Edelblut. Holding those hearings and then voting on that nomination will be the executive council's job. All appointments to the judiciary in New Hampshire also are voted on by the executive council. So we know how this works at the federal level, where the president nominates a justice and then the confirmation goes through the US Senate. In New Hampshire, it's the governor who nominates and the executive council who actually holds the hearings and then votes on the appointments. And in the context of a super conservative supermajority on the US Supreme Court that is unraveling the role of the federal government in protecting our civil rights and liberties. We saw it in the Dobbs decision overturning Roe. We saw it in the Chevron decision, which is going to make it hard for the EPA to enforce federal environmental regulations. The front lines of these battles are now going to be at the state level. And these appointments to our state courts are going to be more important than ever. Big role of the executive council. R is for roads, infrastructure, roads, bridges, trains, airports, public transportation. That's all put together in the state's 10-year highway plan. And the executive council is responsible for updating that plan every 2 years, deciding which projects are in, which projects are out. And they hold hearings throughout their districts so they know what the local priorities are in each town. I've got 81 cities and towns in District 2. My job is to know what my towns need and then be able to advocate for them at the executive council table and make sure they get into the state's 10-year highway plan. And then S is for services. Constituent services is a big part of the job for executive counselors. It's about being a liaison for people to state government, and it's about connecting people or nonprofits or municipalities with the appropriate departments in state government so they can get the answers to their questions. It's constituent services. And that, in a nutshell, is what the executive council does.